Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and welcome to the new season of Pokemon Go Battle League. The interlude season has ended, and ranked play has finally returned. With the new season, the Great League Remix Cup has returned as well, with a fresh ban list. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at what I believe is the strongest closer in the Remix Cup, OVERHEAT Kanto Ninetales. I had an incredible day with it, going 25-5, including a 12-game win streak. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out OVERHEAT Ninetales in action in the Remix Cup. Terrible lead in the first match, Tropius into Alolan Marowak. I'm going to save switch into my own, and my opponent responds with Whiscash. Things could not be starting off much worse. Terrible lead and hard countered on the swap as well. Whiscash is comfortably able to take out Alolan Marowak as they just straight up outpace in this matchup, and they don't have to respect the Shadow Bone. So they are going to tank it and throw just as they receive the move. The only good thing about the situation is baiting out the Whiscash should hopefully free up my Ninetales to close in the endgame. I'm going to wait my switch clock and bring back in Tropius. Since they threw as soon as they got their energy, I should be able to overfarm by one Air Slash and then go for the Leaf Blade to take out the Whiscash. Leaf Blade will take them out. My opponent is going to be waiting the switch clock themselves, and then back in comes that Alolan Marowak. Back in comes the AWAC. I'm farming up, going for the Leaf Blade, but I do lose CMP. Leaf Blade does less damage than Aerial Ace in this situation, but it is more energy efficient. So I am going to go for the Leaf Blade just to try and get a little bit of chip damage and then bring in the Ninetales. Leaf Blade lands, in comes Ninetales, and my opponent has Vigoroth as their final Pokemon. Things are not looking great for me here. I am going to tank the Body Slam, and then you know what? I am full sending the Overheat. Ninetales charging up. Do they respect the damage? They do not, and down goes Vigoroth. Back in comes the Alolan Marowak, and it looks like we may actually have a chance here. I do need to start shielding something, so I will shield up the Bone Club, farm up a bunch of energy, and then fire off the Weather Ball. I am debuffed, but this will do some chip damage, so the opponent commits the shield. I'm able to reach a second Weather Ball here, and again, not going to be doing a whole lot, but would do some chip damage, and I'm able to grab that final shield. The question is, can Tropius reach the Aerial Ace? This will be very close. I shield up the Shadow Bone, defense drops, and I'm able to reach the Aerial Ace. Moment of truth. Is this enough to take out AWAC? It is not. We farm down, and that is a good game. The bad leads continue in the next match, Tropius into Drifblim. I save switch into my Alolan Marowak, and just like last game, it is hard punished by Whiscash. With Swampert being banned from the Remix meta, Whiscash definitely appears to be the new mud boy of choice. Definitely a bad matchup if you're the AWAC, but hopefully seeing it now should clear the way for Ninetales to be able to close in the endgame. They overfarm and they're going to go for the Mud Bomb just before I'm able to reach my second Shadow Bone. I'm not willing to commit a shield. Instead, I'm just going to let it get taken out, come back in with Tropius, and be able to reach the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade will easily take them out, and then I'm going to switch when I see the Drifblim. But they bring in a Shadow Mawile, I bring in Ninetales, and back in comes the Drifblim. So they are very weak in the back to Ninetales now that the Whiscash is out of the way. Drifblim actually no shields a Weather Ball, which is absolutely fantastic, because from here, I can probably just Fire Spin down and then leave with a bunch of energy. I commit the shield on the Shadow Ball, and I'm going to fire back with the Weather Ball. Weather Ball does get shielded, but this Drifblim is easily in farm down range, so I'm just going to double shield, farm down, and then I should easily be able to outpace the Shadow Mawile. Back in comes the Shadow Mawile, but this Ninetales is absolutely loaded on energy. Weather Ball gets the shield. Ninetales gets to another Weather Ball, and this should be game over. Weather Ball, big damage onto the Mawile, taking it down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, getting Tropius into Vigoroth. This is a great lead, and the Vigoroth is staying in, which honestly works out very nicely for me. They're going to fire off a Body Slam as soon as they get it, but Tropius tanks this no problem. So I am going to let that through, overfarm slightly, and then fire back with a Leaf Blade. This will do a nice amount of damage if it lands, and then my opponent save switches into Oranguru. Honestly, I don't have a great response to this, so I'm just going to stay in and fire off a Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does get a shield, and then I'm going to bring in Ninetales. I don't want to really tank a move here. Ninetales isn't the tankiest mon ever, so I am going to be shielding up the foul play and farming up quite a bit here, and they're able to reach a second move. I miscounted, I thought they were one confusion away, and I'm forced to tank a foul play, so a pretty big mistake there. I'm gonna fire off the Overheat on very low HP. It connects, and down goes Oranguru. I'm expecting them to bring back in the Vigoroth here to farm down, but they don't. They bring in Frostlass for a very ambitious farm down. I am debuffed, so this Weather Ball is not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. So I'm actually going to bring in the Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak should have a very good matchup against the rest of their team. I shield up, and it is the Shadow Ball. That's a big shield. Opponent brings back in the Vigoroth, but I am not in Bulldoze range. So even though they're able to reach a Bulldoze here, Bulldoze not enough to KO. Alolan Marowak able to farm down, and this is game over. We have the back-to-back Shadow Bones. Alolan Marowak takes down the Frostlass, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, switching Tropius into Pidgeot. Terrible lead, I'm going to actually save switch into the Ninetales, and my opponent responds with Hypno. This is not a bad matchup for Ninetales whatsoever. I'm going to farm up a ton of energy and go for the Weather Ball. Weather Ball goes unshielded, I throw one more Fire Spin, and I'm going for the Overheat. I'm hoping they think it's just another Weather Ball. Overheat lands, and down goes Hypno. Back in comes Pidgeot. Pidgeot looking for the farm down, but not before we reach Overheat number 2. This is debuffed, but still does massive damage onto the Pidgeot. This Pidgeot does leave with a ton of energy, which is slightly scary. I'm going to bring in the Alolan Marowak and respect the potential Brave Bird. Unfortunately, they do get me with a Feather Dance bait. Marowak farming up. This could be a Brave Bird. I kind of want to save a shield. Brave Bird does big damage. In the back, they have Meganium, and this game is over because Tropius absolutely destroys Meganium. There's just nothing Meganium can do in this matchup, and I'm going to be firing off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace does get shielded. Meganium trying its best to take out the Tropius. They're going to be firing off the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant does a laughably small amount of damage. Meganium able to reach a second charge move. I'm not shielding a thing. They go for the Earthquake. That does even less, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, taking Tropius into another Vigoroth. We've seen how this lead plays out, and it's an incredibly good lead for Tropius. They're staying in, which hopefully means they are weak to Tropius somewhere in the back as well. They keep farming up, I fire off the Leaf Blade, and I'm able to do a nice amount of damage. My opponent throws on alignment and gives me a free Air Slash, so a big mistake by my opponent. They keep farming up, so I'm going to fire off a Leaf Blade. Unless they want to lose this energy, they will have to commit the shield. Tropius farming up, and Vigoroth is at the back-to-back body slams. I will live the first, so we're going to tank that. We switch in the Marowak, and we're able to catch the second. That is absolutely fantastic. That body slam does absolutely no damage, and then my opponent responds with Pelipper. This is not a great matchup for the Marowak, but again, baiting out the water type should clear the way for Ninetales to close in the endgame. I will fire off a Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone is not going to be enough to take out the Pelipper, but it does do a nice amount of chip damage. Trying to reach another, but I fall just short. I'm going to bring back in the Tropius and basically call that they're baiting with a Weather Ball. If they do go for the Weather Ball, which they do, it's not enough to KO, and I'm able to reach the Leaf Blade. And unless they want to give me the final shield, which they do not, we're able to take them out. I am trying to bring in the Ninetales, and in the back, they have Oranguru. The one thing I have to be mindful of is a potential catch. They go for it, and I'm able to farm down. From here, I should be in a very safe spot to close out this match. I'm just going to go for the triple Weather Ball. Weather Ball does go unshielded, but I'm going to be able to reach 2 more. One to grab the shield, and then the other one should just about KO from this range. Ninetales going for Weather Ball number 3. Is this going to be enough to take out Oranguru? It barely is not, but we are able to get the Fire Spin through. So we just shielded the foul play. The Fire Spin takes them out, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, getting Tropius into Shadow Golbat. Terrible lead, so I'm going to save switch into the Alolan Marowak, and we are met with yet another Whiscash. It appears that Whiscash is just inevitable in this cup. You're going to see it absolutely everywhere. I'm going to fire off a Shadow Bone and basically do what I've done in every other match. Just try and make this as close as I possibly can. This Whiscash overfarms a ton and allows me to reach a second Shadow Bone, which I would argue is a definite misplay, as that does get them within farm down range for my Ninetales. And all I basically want is just farm on the Ninetales. So I'm able to take them down with the Ninetales, and in comes Vigoroth. And we have seen this play out before. They are farming up a ton of energy. I'm going straight for the overheat. Do they respect the damage? They do! They commit a shield. I bring in Tropius, and back in comes the Shadow Golbat. Shadow Golbat fires off a Poison Fang. That is going to lower my defense, but Tropius is exceedingly bulky, so even despite the debuff, it's going to be tough to farm us down. Aerial Ace lands. Can we reach the Leaf Blade? Yes, we can. And they are forced to shield this if they want to preserve that Golbat. Golbat will commit the shield, and I have a tough call to make. They have a lot of energy. I'm going to call the Poison Fang. It is, and we're able to take them out. Back in comes Vigoroth. Can we reach an overheat before they reach 3 body slams? This is going to be very close. Come on, Ninetales. Get there. We are able to get there. This overheat is easily going to be taken down the Vigoroth. And Kanto Ninetales strikes again. Hopping into the next match, sending Tropius into Shadow Beedrill. This is a pretty neutral lead, but overall I would give the edge to Tropius, just because the air slashes do an absolute ton of damage. Beedrill fires off the X-Scissor, I bank the energy, save switch into my Marowak, and who could have ever guessed it, we see yet another Whiscash. Baiting this out is perfect news for the Kanto Ninetales, but again, my Alolan Marowak must be absolutely sick of seeing this little fish. Shadow Bone able to connect, and they throw before I'm able to reach a second. This will work out pretty nicely for me because I can overfarm a ton on my Tropius, which already has a massive amount of energy. I'm going to farm up till over 2 Leaf Blades and fire off a move. This is going to be taking care of the Whiscash, and we have an Aerial Ace loaded to help fight against the Beedrill. This will grab a shield if they want to keep the Beedrill alive. I bring in the Ninetales, and they have Vigoroth in the back. You know what? It was shielded once, but I'm hoping it won't get shielded again. Overheat. Big damage onto the Vigoroth. And from here, I can very safely shield once, farm down, and close out this match. Again, the power of Ninetales as a closer is absolutely unreal. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Tropius into Hypno. This is a pretty neutral lead overall, but it's very heavily dependent on what charge moves the Hypno is running. If they're running Ice Punch, this could get ugly. I decide to call it, but they have Ice Punch, and that does massive damage onto the Tropius. I have a ton of energy, so I am going to fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade connects onto Hypno, and I'm going to save switch into the Ninetales. Hypno farms up a ton, and then they bring in Pidgeot. I'm going to farm up a ton of energy and go for a Weather Ball bait, hoping to try and grab a shield. They let it through. You know what? I'm going to full send the overheat. They would live a Weather Ball from this range. I'm hoping they no shield. They do, and down goes Pidgeot. Back in comes Hypno, and it looks like they're trying to commit to the farm down. Able to reach a last second Weather Ball. Weather Ball does get the shield. Unfortunately, Hypno is going to be able to farm down, and they have a ton of energy. I bring in the Alolan Marowak, and I will respect a potential Shadow Ball. Just an Ice Punch, and they're at a second move. I decide to save the shield. It's the Shadow Ball, and that does big damage. Alolan Marowak going to be able to farm down, and in the back, it is Vigoroth. At this point, I see only one win con, going straight for the Fire Blast. Fire Blast, big damage onto the Marowak. And at this point, this game should be over. I can shield once with the Tropius, fully commit to the farm down, and that is a good game. For the final match, I will be showcasing the game where the win streak ended, picking up a bit of a tough lead Tropius into Shadow Dragonite. Unfortunately, I don't get the extra air slash through, which is a little rough. They go for the Dragon Claw, and I'm going to fire off the Aerial Ace. This will do a nice amount of damage if I'm able to land it. Aerial Ace goes unshielded, and I'm going to save switch into the Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak looking for the farm down, but not before they're able to reach a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will go unshielded, and they have Shadow Aerodactyl in the back. And taking a look at my team, I am triple weak to rock. They shield up the Shadow Bone, and at this point, I suddenly realize this game is over as I get fully swept by this Shadow Aerodactyl. All in all, Overheat Ninetales feels incredibly potent for the new Great League Remix Cup meta. Overheat just hits incredibly hard even when resisted, and can really give you win cons in situations where honestly, it doesn't really look like there are any. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.